Absolutely. You've got to be able to adapt. And that's another keys to success is you can't just sit back and enjoy your success because it's always going to come to an end. It doesn't matter what you do. Like you mentioned, being a professional athlete, you've only got so much good years in your life of being an athlete. So you've got to be able to think forward.
Thank you for listening to the show, and don't forget to subscribe. Today on The Edge of Excellence, we have John Hepworth, co-founder of Firstway Fundraising. If you've sold it to raise money for your cheerleading team or your sports team or your scouts group, John Hepworth is the one that supplied it. He's going to talk about how he turned his charitable project into a business and how to be an entrepreneur by age 25. He defines excellence at different places in life, and he's going to talk a lot about the effect of hard work and the process to start and improve your company at such a young age. Welcome to the Edge of Excellence. Well, John, thank you very much for coming on the show today and joining us from sunny Southern California. How's your day going today?
Excellent. Thanks for letting me on.
Excellent. You almost said something other than excellent, but entrepreneurs always answer with excellent because we all saw the same speaker and we were told never, ever answer with anything but excellent. So I'm glad you're having another excellent day. We start off the same way. Every time we do the podcast, we start off with what is your definition of excellence, coincidentally?
Well, I would say that excellence is a reflection of a period of time in your life where you basically reached the pinnacle. And what I mean by pinnacle means like you've done everything in your power to achieve the ultimate goal. What does that mean exactly? I would say that it means that you've used all your resources, you've used your experience, you've leaned on others to find different ways of approaching things, and you've come out with the best result. So I just feel that excellence comes and goes more or less. So it's not something that always is there. You can have it at one point and then, learn from some mistakes or make some mistakes, I should say, and then get back to excellence. So it's something that comes and goes.
You see it in athletics, right? They are an amazing high school athlete. Maybe they end up as a pro in athletics. And then they retire, and a lot of pro athletes retire a lot earlier than other people. And some of them re-achieve excellence as a business person, or re-achieve excellence in philanthropy, or re-achieve excellence in broadcasting or media or some other industry. So they pass. So is the excellence as you define it, it's a period of time in your life because what you're able to do and what you're excellent at changes, or can you be excellent at something all your life?
Well, you can be excellent at something all your life. It's just, you're not going to be excellent at everything though. So that's why I feel that it's really important to learn from others, and you're going to make mistakes. And as long as you learn from your mistakes, that's how you achieve excellence, because, no one's perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. You just got to get up, continue and keep that drive. And that's the most important thing, is to have that drive and make sure that you do everything you can to achieve your ultimate goal.
So still a period of life. It just may be a long period of life. You can be an excellent friend for all your life, but you'll have hiccups sometimes and you forget to be a good friend. So you're not excellent that moment, but you pick up at most of your life you are, or an excellent business person, or an excellent investor, or an excellent health nut that's always staying in shape, but you're going to have hiccups. So you may skip some small periods of something that you're excellent at all your life, or you may be like a professional athlete, excellent for a period of time, and then age settles in and you're not excellent anymore. Love it. Well, let's go back in time, way back outside of sunny California, outside of the 73-degree weather that you live year round, all the way back to Sudbury, Canada. which is where you're from, right?
No, actually, I'm from Montreal.
Okay, close enough. Canada's Canada. So you're back up in Montreal. What was life like for you in high school? How did you see yourself, and how did you find your path?
Life in high school was I was definitely driven. I was a very hard worker. I knew that I wanted to be great. Didn't know how. I didn't have the experience. So, being at such a young age, the only thing I could really truly rely on was my work ethic, which honestly, I feel like I developed that at a very young age. I always, I saw my father, I saw my mom, they worked hard. And I felt that, if I'm going to get anywhere in life, I've got to put the same type of effort into anything that I do. So, at a young age, I picked up while my friends were out there playing, ball hockey or whatever. I was, delivering papers. And I do that pretty much every day at a paper route. And then, because that was basically the only thing I could do at such a young age. I wasn't able to work, as you know, you've got to be a certain age to do that. After that, I started babysitting. But for me, it was I always wanted to earn money and be able to be independent, which I feel is extremely important. And then as soon as I was of age, I started working in retail. And so, that to me through high school, I just for me, everything was about just working hard because I didn't have the experience to be able to rely on. And I made lots of mistakes, I was not shy type of guy, but I actually got along with every type of group. And I felt that was really important. There's all kinds of cliques in high school. And I just made sure that I wasn't part of that. I was just a hard worker. Grades didn't come super easy for me. I had to work at them, and I'm kind of thankful for that. People that grades come easy, they start to, become lazy. So again, I just was a hard worker, and I knew that I wanted to do great things. So I just put my head down and just forged forward.
So you're living in the mountains of Eastern Canada, and there's a lot of jobs out there in the mountains of Eastern Canada.
There's not a lot of jobs, but
I'm sorry. You lived in Montreal. I forgot. I got that wrong. So you're in Montreal where there are a lot of jobs, not living where whoever else lives that I'm thinking of in the mountains of Canada. And before
there are mountains in Canada, in Montreal as well. So, but I didn't live in the mountains.
We're not talking about those. So you have a paper route because you're too young, you're babysitting, and then you start working in retail and you're working really hard. And you want greatness. You don't know how. You know that you don't have a lot of experience. So your work ethic is to get experience, but was that the right type of experience? Why was that experience? How did that help you later on when you started a business later in life, a paper route, babysitting, working behind the counter in retail? Why would that be the building blocks to a business that you start later?
Well, this retail is you get to meet a lot of different types of individuals, and you get to learn how to cope with all these type of individuals. And I was able to start analyzing the people that were coming in the door and realize that some wanted, me to give them all the details of the clothing, and others just wanted me to bring stuff to them. And so you get to know people that way. And that's super important in business, is understanding human nature and just being able to adapt to whoever you're dealing with. And I knew I needed, the work experience to be able to get to the next level, going into college, coming out of college. And with anything that you do, everybody's going to look at your resume, and you've got to be able to have a solid resume that's, constant, like where you're working, there's never a break. So I realized that, and that's why I just kept working hard from one job to the next.
All right. And, I was asking a rhetorical question. It's the EQ skills. You learn to read people. It's the communication skills. It's putting on paper the proof that when you say you aspire for greatness and you say you're going to be a great employee, boom, here's the proof. I've done it all my life. Here's what I learned from each of these jobs. And you don't know until you do it. My son's first job was at a restaurant, and he was too young to work there. So my buddy hired him at this restaurant, and he went in there kind of a quiet kid, and he came out a conversationalist because of interacting with people behind the counter. And he didn't know he was going to get that. You don't know what you're going to get until you're done getting it, right?
Absolutely. And also you get into a new environment, and like you said, you just don't know how you're going to excel because everything's new at that point. And for me, when I did do retail, I found out that I was a great seller. I was always top, at my store. We had these competitions weekly, and I always was number one or two. And I realized, okay, this is something that I'm good at. So, I saw a path towards my future that way. You're going to try things, and you're going to find out that you're not good at everything, right? So you have to the only way to find that out is if you start experiencing things, and that's what I did.
So through, just following this loose path and some serendipity, you start to see what you're good at. You got the gift of gab. You're good at working with people, starting to lead people into decisions. And then you move to university, and you start up university, and I don't know what you studied in school. So maybe talk about what you studied in school. And I know you did the student painter thing. So why don't you talk about how you found that and what skills you developed from those experiences in college?
Sure. So I was in major in economics, did student painters. My parents, I actually was looking for something that I would make enough money to be able to support myself. I've supported myself my whole life. I've never leaned on anybody financially to support me. So I was looking for something that I can make a lot of money if I put the effort into it. And I knew that retail wouldn't be feasible, just because there's a certain limit that you have when you work retail. You could only make so much. So I came across student painters, and it was honestly one of the best experiences that I had, because it really threw me into everything you need or would want in trying to better yourself. Taught me, to basically make sure that I managed my time a little bit better than I had in the past, because you're working 12 hours a week, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you don't manage your time right, you'll fall behind. And it really made me realize that time management at that point was super important to succeed. So I got down and would schedule my day early in the morning, and then keep to that schedule. And that's basically what made me super successful at it. I knew I had the work ethic. I just didn't know that I was going to be able to manage it the way I did. Plus, it was, I basically, my territory was 8 hours drive. So I would literally have to go home on the weekends from school and basically do 10 estimates a day on Saturday and Sunday, and then drive back to school. So I did that for like 2 months. And so before I came finally back during the summertime to produce all the work that I had booked. So yeah, student work's really, with the training that you guys did, that's one of the things that helped me out a lot as well. And that's what I mean by learning from others, because, when you're young, you just don't have that experience, and you've got to lean on others to be able to get you further in life. And I still have that sense today where, you're not a know-it-all, and you've really got to not just do things by your own. You definitely have to rely on others and do your research, and I don't know, just, learn from them.
All right, so you're in college and you used every name of the company that I am a co-owner of. So it was once called Student Painters, and that name went away because they couldn't copyright it. Then it was called Student Works, which it still is up in Canada. Different guy, Chris Thompson. And now we have College Works down here. So John, we're going to use the right name for the company that you work for, but we're not talking about it anymore anyway. So you did the College Works thing. You're in high school. You're working your butt off. You're in college, and you found a place to put your effort into. And in your case, it was the College Works program. And your College Works and Student Works don't exist in every state. But the point is, find a place to shine. Find a place where you can devote your energy to. Find a place that's going to challenge you. And I'm sure when you looked at it, you probably thought you were a genius at time management. You probably thought you had all the hardworking experience that you needed. You probably thought you had the gift of gab and could sail sand to the beach. And then you did the College Works thing. And just like any really difficult experience, vector marketing, going to Alaska on a fishing boat, you probably had some aha moments where you found out you weren't good at things. And then over the course of a little trial and error, you became good. Was there any one thing that you remember besides time management that you really improved on those during those long drives and those long weekends and those long summer hours?
Yeah, the one thing I did learn that, I like to treat others the way I like to be treated. And I found that a lot of my workers that didn't feel the same, fit the same description as it was difficult for me to be able to deal with them. And one thing I did learn that I've got to be able to cope with others that are not exactly the way I am. So I would say that that's one thing that I definitely learned, that, you're going to be faced with people that aren't exactly like you, but you can't necessarily just cut them out of your existence. You got to be able to cope with them. So I feel like that I was able to definitely learn to cope with other people that don't have the same feelings as I do about dealing with other people.
Really? So you had people working for you that didn't like to treat others as they wanted to be treated?
Yeah, when you're young, you're dealing with time, right? And there's only so much of it to be able to produce, especially with Student Works. I had to build the crew really quick, and there's only so many workers out there, so you do have to deal with the people that you're dealt with, and sometimes they're not the best that you could possibly get, but they're just like today. There's lots of companies out there that are trying to hire people and can't find the workforce because unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just don't want to work, which is a sad situation we're in. But you got to just deal with these people, and so it's a lot harder to be able to mold those people into what you feel like, because they haven't had the same type of experience that you have, or aren't driven the way you are. So yeah, I would say that's one thing I definitely had to learn to be able to cope with them and manage them. So at such a young age, you don't have the experience of managing these people as well. So that's another thing that I had to definitely deal with. Just making sure that the job got done and that they stayed on board and were somewhat happy. And that's another key that I feel in any business that you do is the people that you're working with. You want to make sure that they're happy, and that means being a chameleon to them sometimes.
So as you move through life and you started your other business and you gained the success in the fundraising industry that you did you stop employing people that didn't have that treat others as you want to be treated attitude? Were you able to only hire people that were more similar to you in that way in the future?
Yeah, I did. And because I had more time, right? So, like I said, during college, my business was 8 hours away. And so when I'd come home for the weekends, I only had so much time to be able to do 1,000,001 different things. And so I wasn't able to, interview as many people as I could possibly want to. So when I left that, Student Works and started my Firstway Fundraising group, I had a lot more time, and I made sure that I did hire the people that were in line with my way of thinking. And it really helps out a lot. It really did. I mean, the people that work for you are everything. Your company, it depends on those people, because you're not going to be at the forefront of your customers. They are. So you want to make sure that they're in line with you. And so I had a lot more time to be able to, hire the right people, and it worked out real well for me.
All right. Well, let's talk about Firstway Fundraising and how it started. So you're in college, you did the College Works thing. You were really good at it. You're running the exterior, and you had this buddy that was running the interior, and you had complementary businesses. And after college, the two of you joined together and went off to start a business. How did that work? How did you and Jaime figure out that you wanted to start a business together? And what was the process of starting that when you were done with college?
Well, it's funny because, when we were in college and doing the student works thing, Jaime and I would, we'd go out at night with all our friends, and, we'd find ourselves always talking about the business. And we're like, we've really excelled at this, and we see eye to eye, and we should definitely do something in the future. And we didn't know what. I was a year ahead of him. I was graduating before him. And, I actually took a job coming out of college, and a very good paying job, for that matter. Back in 1993, I was I worked for London Life, which is an insurance company up in Canada. And I was in their employee benefits and pension division. And there was only 12 of us. It was very competitive. I got the job. Probably, I don't even know how many people they interviewed, but again, there was only 12 of us in Canada that had this position. And so I knew I wanted to take that job, even though I knew I wanted to work for myself in the future, because I knew that London Life, an insurance company, would give me the training like no other. And absolutely, that's exactly what happened. For 8 weeks, they sent us up to London, of course, where comes the name London Life. And we were trained, and then came back to our territories and worked with all the reps. Anyways, kind of going off on a tangent here. When Jaime finally did graduate, because him and I both said to each other, "Look, we got to get our school behind us. Like that's a given. So we're not going to start whatever we're going to start when you're still in school. So when you get out of school, let's talk about things." And it just so happened that we needed to fundraise for a nonprofit, and we developed a program called Scratch and Help. And that Scratch and Help that we developed was a fundraiser that basically, if you can visualize a booklet that has 50 boxes on it that range from 50 cents to $3, and they have a silk screen on it, and you go to your neighbor and you scratch open one box, it would raise up $1, and then you scratch open another, it would be $1.50. They would donate that to the nonprofit, and in return, you'd give them a sheet of coupons. We had sponsors like Pizza Hut, Subway, TCBY, to name a few. And anyways, we did this for this nonprofit, and it was super successful. And that was when the light bulb went off, and we're like, you know what? Let's just take this and go nationwide with this. So we developed a business plan, and this was up in Canada, and him and I actually came down in January of 1993, and we tried to do a feasibility study here in California to see if it would work down here. And some of the things that we needed to make sure that it would work was, hey, could we get the sponsors? And those sponsors were the ones that gave the coupons. Let's see what the response would be from people just in these nonprofits, to see if they, in sports associations, to see if they had any interest. So we came down here for 3 weeks, managed to unbelievably get Pizza Hut nationwide, which was the first time they had worked with anybody in fundraising. Got them to give us a coupon. And then we talked to a bunch of schools and nonprofits and sports associations, and they were all interested. We had no product. We had the old one, which was up in Canada, and it was bilingual, so we couldn't use it in the US, but we were showing them everything that we had up there, and they loved it. So what we did was we applied for a visa to come down here and work, and we literally got the visa within 3 weeks, which is unheard of. Like, normally these visas would take months and months to get. And so as soon as we got that visa within 3 weeks, we were like, okay, this is our calling. And so we came down here and we packed up everything, moved down, and we started our business. And, that was 28 years ago. And it's been quite an adventure.
Is there something unique in people like you? You're off doing something to help out a charity, and then boom, this should be a business. And then you're doing the business, and boom, I wonder if there's a bigger market. And then you come down to the market, and you test it out for 3 weeks, and boom, I really think we can do this. What is it that you got inside you, or Jaime has inside you, that gives you the confidence to say, okay, leave London life, let's do this. This is a business. Or say, hey, this worked for one nonprofit, it should work for thousands of nonprofits. What is it that you guys have inside yourselves that other people listening to the call, they could think, do I have that inside myself?
Well, the one thing, of course, is, being willing to take those chances. It's not everybody that's, a lot of people have comfort in doing the same thing over and over again. And for us at that time, we were willing to do anything it took to succeed. So, we're young. We didn't have any responsibilities. We weren't married. We could drop everything. We literally didn't have any possessions. We thought, hey, there's no better time at such a young age to be able to just pack up all our things and go try it. Why not? We knew we had the work ethic. We knew, we had the skills to be able to, make the sales, because we had done that feasibility study. And so we just took the challenge, and, we just had it in us to be able to, it's something to be able to do that. You're right. It's not everybody that can do that. But what's the worst thing that could happen? You fail and you go back and, you start something else. If you don't try things, you're never going to succeed. You may overestimate what you can do in the short run, but you can also underestimate what you can do in the long run. And for us, we never envisioned that we'd be still doing this for 28 years. And it's just a dream that, as long as you've got that drive, I think you can accomplish anything you set your mind to.
So it starts with a willingness to take a chance, and then it's a focus on your goal and a willingness to do whatever it takes to hit that goal. At the same time, open to new ideas, because you didn't have a crystal clear plan. And there's always so many people that have this crystal clear plan. I wanted to be a lawyer. Someone wants to be a doctor. They want to start a SaaS business, whatever it is. But being open to the side ideas and the little things that pop up that may be better than your idea. And then finally, not afraid of failure. And when you're in your 20s and you don't have a spouse, and you don't have a house payment, and you don't have a lot of debt, and you don't have kids, it's a lot easier to fail than if you had all those things. So you got started early. You had the ability to move just one person, not an entire family. Down to California you came, and you had your scratch product, and that worked well for years. And then you all had to reinvent your business, right? So you're still in the fundraising business, but now you have a variety of products and a variety of ways for people to make money. And is that the same path? Willingness to take a chance, still wanting to hit your goal, open to a new idea, not afraid to fail?
Absolutely. You've got to be able to adapt. And that's another keys to success is you can't just sit back and enjoy your success, because it's always going to come to an end. It doesn't matter what you do. Like you mentioned, being a professional athlete, you've only got so much good years in your life of being an athlete. So you've got to be able to think forward, and you've got to be able to learn from what's going on around you. So for us, we saw the writing on the wall. We realized that, every product has a cycle, and we saw that, we were climbing, and it got to a point where we were kind of peaking, and we were doing everything we could to even get more sales. But there's just so much that you could do to push your sales, and we reached a peak level. So we realized, okay, if we don't do something now, we might not be in business for 3 years. So we started thinking outside the box, and we were like, okay, look, we work with a lot of nonprofit and sports organizations, and we realized that, if they don't want this product, they're going to want some other type of fundraiser. So why not offer them other fundraisers? We've been a supplier for the last decade, but now it's time maybe that we start, becoming a distributor of other programs. So that's when we contacted Auntie Anne's, which is a well-known brand here in the U.S. For pretzels, and we approached them and said, "Hey, look, we'd love to push your product to schools and sports groups." And they're like, "Wow," they were open to it. So we literally brought them into the fundraising industry. So we started selling Auntie Anne's, and then we brought on cookie dough, and then we kept on bringing on products. And the funny thing is, we've probably pushed, I would say, without exaggerating, maybe 30 different products. And now we only have about 8 in our repertoire of things that we offer. And it's because, not every product is going to be successful, just like not every business is going to be successful, right? So we brought them on, we pushed as hard as we could, and realized sometimes, things don't work out that well. So we just dropped the line, and we went with, what sells. So we just kept introducing new things. And today we're one of the big, probably one of the largest online companies there is in the US. And that's 100% because we've been able to bring on new products, get rid of the old products that don't work, and keep it simple. That's a super important thing too. One thing we learned about going back to Student Works, we used to paint houses and come, when I first started, with a fan deck of 1,000 different colors. And I'd be sitting there for about an hour while the wife and husband would be, going through the fan deck and not being able to choose what color they wanted on their walls. And then one day I was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm wasting so much time here. Why don't I just come in with here's a grays, like maybe 5 of them, here's browns. And I brought it from 1,000 colors down to about 30, and I was out of there in about 10 minutes because they were able to choose the color. So keep it simple is super important.
All right. So you start your business with the willingness to take a chance and doing anything to hit that goal, being open to new ideas, a lot of serendipity. You're talking about serendipitous business partnership from your job you had in college, serendipitous business idea from a little project you did for a charity, serendipitous win because you got a visa fast, and you've got that same pattern as your road to adaptability. Take a chance, do anything to hit your goal, be open to new ideas, not afraid to fail. And then probably you add for the adaptability, measure it, because not all ideas are equal and some of them actually fail. So in your business and my business, we're constantly trying new things, the same way we started a business trying new things, and you're constantly analyzing, vetting, and deciding what your model is. You're kind of building your airplane as you fly, but you're building an airplane. You know where you're going. You just don't know all the pieces that you're going to put on until you've had the experience, right? Just like your life experience, until you see what happens. All right. Well, my favorite question, John, what sacrifices did you make in your 20s that you'll never regret making?
Leaving all my family and friends behind, that was a big sacrifice. It wasn't easy. I knew no one. I literally, we picked up and came to the US and left absolutely everything behind. And that takes a lot. I mean, that's not easy. That's probably the biggest sacrifice you can make. And I don't regret that in any way because, I realized that I'd be able to go back eventually and of course, stay in touch with everybody. But that's and forge new friends too. And so that's something that I will never regret doing.
Well, you had those time management skills that you developed over your life. You had that philosophy of treating others the way you wanted to be treated. You had the ability to prioritize so you were able to maintain all your old relationships while you started a new life for yourself.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, John, thank you so much for making time out of your busy day of trying out new lines, improving your business, growing a company that's been going for 28 years, to share with some of us how you do it, what the process is.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. And in closing, all I got to say is, things happen for a reason. I live by that. Like, everything's going to happen. You just got to take what it brings to you, and, be able to adapt. And I'm happy that these chances, and I think if you're going to succeed in anything that you do, you got to be able to do that. So, and just realize that things happen for, and the last but not least, treat others the way you'd always want to be treated. It's super important in my books.
It's super important in the big book. It's the golden rule. It's the golden rule that all entrepreneurs live by, and it's been the golden rule for a couple thousand years. Well, John, thank you very much. Have a great day, and thank you for joining us on The Edge of Excellence.
Thanks, Matt.